Good morning, everyone. The final day of NAS. It's been a good week together. And today, I just wanted to talk to you a little bit more about DXP Cloud and go deeper on the product and share about how we're trying to kind of take a new approach to DevOps as a whole. I'm one of the product managers at Liferay Cloud, and just really excited to share with you guys today. So let's jump right in. Whether you're in DevOps or you work with DevOps or wherever you are in your organization, you know that DevOps is a juggling act. There's lots of different things on the shoulders of those teams, and everything from operating systems to version management, network configurations and firewalls, security, environment management, migrations, databases, security controls, member management, teams, collaboration, automation, scripting. And as we were assessing all of these roles that the DevOps teams hold, we really wanted to kind of dig deeper and to see, with all that juggling, how are DevOps teams feeling? We looked at one of these, research from Dora. They're a DevOps researching firm, and they've been assessing teams for over 5 years, and they have this concept of a performer or a team of performers, and they use 4 key indicators or KPIs to decide how a DevOps team is performing in their organization. Those 4 areas are deployment frequency, so how often can they deploy or do they deploy? Lead time for changes, so how quickly do their changes get through their dev pipeline? The time for restoring services, when something goes down, when something goes wrong, how do they get those services back up? And the change failure rate, when a change occurs, what's the percentage of times that causes a regression down the line? And they had 4 categories that they placed all these teams that they assessed in. On the low side, the low performers, their deployment frequency was like once per week or month. Their lead time was 1 month to 6 months. Their restoration, their time for restoration was a week to 1 month, and their change failure rate was 46 to 60%. As they moved up to the medium performers, the deployment frequency actually stayed the same, but the lead time for changes decreased. So it was about 1 week to 1 month to go through for the lead time. And they were restoring services in about a day, which is better. And their change failure rate was down to below 15%. For high performers, their deployment frequency increased. They were deploying once per hour or week. Their lead time was a day to a week. Time to restore was less than a day, and their change failure rate was the same as the medium. But when they looked at elite performers, those going above the pack, we saw a huge increase in these areas. The deployment frequency actually completely changed to an on-demand model where they were giving power to the individual teams to deploy. Their lead time was less than an hour. Their time to restore was less than an hour, and their change failure rate was less than 15%. So it got us thinking, what makes an elite performer? What are the pieces what are they doing that's enabling them to do that? And we realized that they're not juggling. Because in the same study, they said that from low to high performers, from their overall workload, 17 to 46% was on manual tasks, redundant tasks they were doing over and over again and using the time of their IT and DevOps team to perform these tasks, whereas the elite performers were only doing about 7%. But I know what you're thinking. When we're talking about automation and all this, it's easier said than done, right? It brings a lot of power to start automating tasks and all these things, but then you also have to maintain all this automation. And when your technology evolves and things change, then those automations can bring failure down the line and regressions. we started to see this kind of common dev experience. This is just one engineer saying this, but I think it's relatable to us all, that he says, I got stuck just tending systems. When you're doing it properly, which we all want to do, it can be a daunting task. Dealing with storage and access control, backups, networking, high availability, maintenance, and security can be overwhelming. And this was a common thing, this state of overwhelming in kind of the DevOps culture. And it kind of led us to a conclusion that it feels like things are kind of broken in the status quo. But we thought it doesn't need to stay that way. And we believe that we can, together, we can get to a place where we're relieving some of that workload for our DevOps teams, but also increasing our performance and getting into that elite performer realm. And we want to do that through Liferay DXP Cloud. So it's not just this tool, or this platform is not just a tool for automation. It's really a full solution for launching and mobilizing your DXP, and it gives lots of features and tools for your DevOps team to worry less about those manual tasks and focus more on innovation and change. So let's look a little bit deeper. There's 6 key aspects of the platform that I want to dive deep with you guys today. The first one is storage. So obviously, your data and your customers' data is incredibly important. It's one of your biggest assets, and we know you don't take it lightly, and we also don't take it lightly. And so we want to give you tools to make sure that that data is available and secure for you. First, we do that by giving you backups out of the box, completely seamless. It comes with the platform. It's tailored to the DXP stack. It is automatically backing up every 60 minutes, but you can initiate that manually whenever you want. Our primary data region is in Northern California, but we wanted to add redundancy, so all those backups are multi-AZ on the East and West Coast right now, looking forward to adding even more availability zones in the future. And we're encrypting those at rest at all times. So you always know that your data is secure, and but you also have access to it. But backing up isn't the whole story, right? It's great to know that you have that backup, but what about getting it when you need it? So we also added the restoration part, which is just as easy as the backup. So you just select the backup that you want, select the environment, and click a button, and we'll restore it for you. That's storage. The next area is networking. When we think about kind of the traditional situation, your environment might look a little bit like this. You're segregating like your prod and your dev and testing environments, but it's all kind of grouped together, maybe in a common network or on servers. And this can cause problems, right? Because if there's not clear segregation, then a simple mistake like forgetting to change a variable could suddenly start affecting your production database instead of your dev database. So our solution for this is to do a complete segregation of each environment while continuing to keep the connections that are important between those. So we don't compromise on moving things between those, like restoring databases and that kind of thing. But in terms of the whole pipeline, we segregate those environments. And because of that, the services inside those environments in that secure network can talk very comfortably with each other and communicate smoothly and in a high performance way with each other. But this doesn't only affect internally, it's also from an external perspective, this is very valuable. Because each environment has its own load balancer. We implement a proxy on each environment, which allows you to control network for each one individually, create redirects, and also those proxies are HTTPS out of the box. We provision those SSL certificates for you and maintain them, keep them updated. And then if you choose, you can have all connections encrypted from the proxy, but then have internal communications decrypted to help with your performance internally. You might also have a registry or database that's offsite, another cloud, on-premise, and so we've added a VPN feature as well, so you can connect seamlessly to those external systems and connect those networks. Next is availability, and as from the DevOps perspective, this is crucial, right? This is when availability isn't working, that's when the fingers start getting pointed, right? And we feel that this isn't one individual's responsibility, but rather a group effort, and we take on the first load to make that happen for you. So we have a team monitoring from the infrastructure level on a 24/7, 365-day basis, making sure that everything's running smooth on the servers, there's no spikes or attacks happening. And with this, we are committing to a 99.95% operational uptime. At the end of the day, we just want to get out of your way to give your users the uptime that they deserve, right? But it isn't all on our shoulders. It also goes to you. And we're giving you the tools to help with your uptime on the application side as well. So one of the ways we do that is by giving you real-time feedback on what's happening on your application in the form of alerts. Let's take the scenario that one of your services is running low on memory, and it's hit 90%, and we'll send you a notification on the console and tell you when it's happening. If it's still happening, we'll also send you an email, so if you're on the go, you know about it right away. And this is just crucial to have the right information at the right time, because if it takes too long, that 90% can go to 100%, and then your service goes down. But once you receive the alert, what are you going to do about it? And that's where metrics come in. Metrics is our way of giving you actionable data on what's happening in your services and in your application. So you can go back in time and see your CPU and memory and transfer and even the uptime of your service, and correlate those together with your logs and really dive deep into what's happening and find a solution quickly. But you also might want to take more of a proactive approach, and that's where auto-scaling comes in. So if you don't want to have to react every time something hits a critical moment, you can just enable auto-scaling. Again, it's as easy as clicking a button. Once your service hits a certain threshold, we'll automatically spin up another instance in your cluster so that things stay up for your users, and then it gives you more time to investigate what's going on behind the scenes. We'll also send you an alert when we scale, so that you know when it's happening, when it's gotten to that point, and you can manually downscale at any time. The next area we focus on is security. This is something that's very important to us. From day one, we made a cultural and a strategic decision on our team to make this really the foundation of our operations. At the end of the day, we know that you're trusting us with your data and your code, and we take that very seriously, and we feel that we have a responsibility to work alongside you in that, to help keep that secure. We've done that in a lot of ways, but one that I want to highlight is with our information security program. This is a collection of policies and frameworks and guidelines that help us to make strategic decisions in your favor and to guide our operations. That consists of things like risk management, access control, change management, disaster recovery, vendor relations, incident response. We have over 25 policies, and in those policies we have over 250 controls that we're monitoring and operating under on a daily basis. We wanted to go another step forward and put our framework to the test. And so we invited SOC 2 auditors, and we put our own framework under scrutiny. And we're excited. We can't officially say that we've gotten the SOC 2 certification, but we're just days away. There hasn't been any exceptions. The auditors have been very excited about our framework. And this is really only the first step. We want to continue going and get further certifications like the ISO suite and FedRAMP and HIPAA and GDPR, all these things that enable you guys to ensure your customers that things are secure and reliable. We also know that you're not working alone. You're working in a team, and collaboration at times can get tricky and a little bit convoluted, and we want to make it simple again for you. So that comes in three different primary ways. One is by giving access to your applications by environment, and that access is dictated by a specific role, and all the activities happening from your team members are tracked in an activity log. So for environment access, if you give one of your devs or team members access to, let's say, a testing environment, you don't want that to inherently give them access to the production environment as well. So it's critical to keep those environments segregated and make sure the right people are in the right place. Along with that, when you give that access or have that access, you can change the role of those members. So maybe it's really only a read-only role, more of a guest role that it's a stakeholder that wants to just see what's going on, or it's a full admin that has full control over adding and deploying and all that kind of thing. And in terms of keeping track of what's happening, everything that goes on the DXP cloud side is tracked in the form of events and activities. And so you can go back and see who performed what, whether it's a bad situation and something went down and you want to see what changed, or you're just doing a personal audit or whatever. All that information is for you so you can go back in time and see what's happened. The last area is automation. And in this, I want to really focus on automation within the dev lifecycle. We know as developers that one of the most powerful tools we have is automation. But again, as we talked before, this can be a tricky thing in managing all these automations and whatnot. And so we want to make that simple for you. If we think of a usual scenario, we start with our code. We're committing to like a GitHub or something, sending a pull request. And once we merge or send that PR, we're going to trigger our CI. And that alone, setting up the CI to work well with your application can be days, weeks, months of work to build a CI that's really trustworthy and efficient, that gives you the results you need in the time you need it. And so we're building that into the platform. We're giving you a Jenkins server that automatically syncs with your code base. So when you make a commit, when you send a PR, we'll run those tests for you, and we'll give you the results on your builds page on the console. And then if there is a failure, you can go to the CI and look deeper into what happens. So your tests are green, that's great. And now we're on to the next level of review, maybe some stakeholders or test users or that kind of thing. And you're wanting to get some live data in your testing environment. And so for this, we can use the same concept of restoring a backup to restore to any environment. So you grab whatever backup you want, say like an old backup from production, and you choose your test environment, restore it. In a few minutes, we'll have that data ready for you in that environment, and you can start seeing your code in action with live data and see if it's actually solving the problem it's supposed to solve, or not causing any regressions that you're unaware of. And the time has come. Now everything's green, everyone gives a thumbs up, and you're ready to deploy to production. This, we believe, should be one of the easiest steps of the whole process in order to enable you to lower that lead time and deploy in that on-demand framework. We've tried to simplify this as much as possible without compromising any control. So from here, we have these our list of builds from all the environments, and there you can select whatever build you want and deploy that build to another environment. So if you're thinking from the whole pipeline, you go from dev, it's green, the CI is green, you move to UAT, you did more tests, everything's green, and then you just move that build over to deploy, and we'll do the rest for you. We'll run that deployment and let you know when it's done, and it'll be green. So that's about it in terms of the product overview. We went over storage, the seamless backup and restore, multi-AZ, encryption at rest, networking, complete segregation of environments with VPN, HTTPS out of the box, availability, our commitment to you in terms of monitoring and uptime, and then tools for you to be alerted when things are going on, to check monitoring of your application and auto scale. For security, we've taken that very seriously and created a robust program to keep your data safe. In collaboration, giving you full control to put the right people in the right way, in the right place. And then automating the entire life cycle for you to get your code to production with confidence and with speed. There's one other thing I want to just discuss with you guys. This isn't just a generic platform that we're kind of forcing over to DXP. This is really something that is built on DXP best practices. That goes through a lot of areas. One of them is with the container stack that we have. So we've containerized all the elements of your application, from the DXP itself to the proxy, the Elastic, the database. That gives you full scalability of each component, and if you choose independent life cycles for each of those. We've also have the ease of extension points. So not only are we trying to help on just the DevOps side, but also just in developing with Liferay. And whether you're wanting to throw in a war jar file, you can put that into deploy directory, and we'll inject that for you in the build. Or you can add configs for OSGI, your license, security hotfixes, or custom scripts. All those are very seamless with these extension points, as well as it goes for property files as well. And at the end of the day, we're building this internally with all the expertise that Liferay has across the board. We're working closely with our GS and support and engineering teams to know what's coming down the pipeline and what are these best practices that we can implement, and what are the pain points that you're seeing for our customers like you guys, and how can we help? And at the end of the day, I really appreciate this quote from Jeff Sousa. He says that the key to following the continuous delivery path is to continually question your own assumption about what's possible. And I think that's really something we're trying to do with DXP Cloud. There's a status quo about how things happen nowadays, and we want to try to reimagine what that could be and how easy that DevOps cycle could look like, and enable you to take advantage of that. So yeah, DevOps in some ways may be broken, but again, it doesn't need to be. And we want to be part of that solution with DXP Cloud, but we're not doing it alone, and you're not doing it alone. And we want to hear from you as we're launching this product. We want to hear about your story and your journey and the things that you're struggling with, or the things that you're succeeding with, and see how we can implement that into our platform. Thank you so much for your time. my name is Jonathan Lundy. You can email me or talk to any of the other Liferay Cloud team members here. We'd love to talk. We'll be at the booth. And don't forget, we have a new site on liferay.com, liferay.com/products/DXP Cloud, that you can learn more about these features and see some of them in action. But if you really want to take the next step forward, we would encourage you to request a demo with us. We can coordinate, if you're already a client, we can coordinate with your reps and whatnot. But you can go to that site and request a demo. We'd love to show you the power of DXP Cloud in action and how it can solve some of these issues for you. So thank you.